The time is now 7 p.m. Time for the CBC Evening News. This time check is brought to you by Fruta.
Retrenched workers demanding their money get assurances from officials. Ministry officials spell out plans to relocate Grisette's primary students. And in sports, Caribbean cricketers ready to help their teams in tomorrow's Champions League final.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. They were seeking answers and they got a response. Former workers of the Beautify Barbados program staged peaceful protests outside of the Ministry of the Environment about outstanding severance payments, and it prompted an almost immediate response from top officials there. Shane Seeley has the story.
Those were the demands of a dozen of the over 50 retrenched workers from the Beautify Barbados program. The peaceful protests outside of the offices of the Ministry of the Environment at Tower 2 in Warrens started about 9 this morning, with workers expressing their dissatisfaction with the situation.
I tell the workers, I think that what we got to do, get a lawyer, and we got to fight for this money because nobody ain't paying the money.
We only planning money running now. This month is the last for we only playing benefit.
The demonstration, however, ended around midday. That's when the former workers reportedly met with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of the Environment, who updated the minister, Dr. Dennis Lowe. He promised them the matter will be settled.
The workers accepted the permanent secretary's explanation and peacefully moved on. What we did commit ourselves to, that certain issues have been clarified. It's just a matter of having a couple of minor issues clarified so that the workers can be satisfied that their rights are served.
Shane Seeley, CBC News.
Several people who lost their jobs in the recent wave of retrenchment have found new employment thanks to efforts made by the Catholic Church. That's according to Bishop of Bridgetown, Dr. Jason Gordon, who has been giving an update on a job initiative launched earlier this year called Hub, People Helping People. He says it has been a success so far.
Part of the modernization of our pastoral approach, part of the thinking that we need to do, is how do we reach this contemporary group of people and present the gospel to them in a way that is attractive and help them to hear the age-old message in a contemporary tone that resonates with their own life and their own needs. So it is part of the evangelization ministry of the church.
The Ministry of Health is seeking. Well, from Monday, students of Grisette's primary school will be bused to 2 different locations for classes as a more intense cleaning is done on the school. This announcement from Deputy Chief Education Officer in charge of schools, Karen Best. She was speaking during a heated meeting involving education, health and labour officials, as well as parents at Ellerslie Secondary School last night. Grisette's primary was closed several times since the start of the school year due to an order reportedly caused by fogging. Students from the infants department, which includes those in nursery to infants B, will be relocated to the Ebenezer Secondary School, Ebenezer Adventist Church, while students from the junior department classes 1 to 4 will be moved to the Breath of Life Church. Ms. Best says they will be providing transportation from the Grisette's Community Centre to shuttle the students to the 2 locations.
1 bus is going to go to Breath of Life. 1 will be going to Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist. They are going to be making 2 trips. If when on Monday we determine that we need another bus, we will get the other bus. In other words, your children will be bused to and from the 2 locations.
Ms. Best, who apologized for the inconvenience caused, says she hopes the relocation will only last for about 3 weeks. She says they will use large industrial fans at the primary school to help extract the odor, and a full generalized cleaning will be done. She says those students preparing for the common entrance exam will be given special attention for the classes they've missed.
those students in the class 4, because I know how we and how parents view the common entrance. We are going to make sure that your children will be given the needed attention to catch up.
Well, some of the parents at last night's meeting are convinced that a gas leak is causing the odor at the school and want further investigations done. But head of the Vector Control Unit, Debert Maynard, says it was indeed fogging which caused the problem. He confirmed that the school was closed when the fogging was done and mentioned a particular chemical used.
Malathion, once used and exposed to the environment, breaks down rather quickly. So basically, the product would have broken down, but given the present situation, there are challenges with the lingering odor in the school in the 2 areas that has been mentioned to you, those areas being the principal's office and the areas occupied by the reception and infants section of the school.
Well, there appears to be greater emphasis being placed on catering to students with special needs in Barbados. This from senior psychologist at the Ministry of Education, Juanita Brathwaite, while speaking at a child-friendly school initiative seminar at the Barbados Blue Horizon. She says the program will focus on inclusiveness.
Of course, we know that one of the hallmarks of the UN Child Rights is that all children have access to education regardless of what their difficulties may be. So we want to include all children in school life. If you have special needs, whether it be physical or emotional or even behavioral challenges, you want to ensure that you are included in the school, in your community as much as possible. So inclusiveness speaks to the fact that we have programs to cater to the needs of all children, regardless of their special considerations.
The Ministry of Health is assuring the Barbadian public that it is aggressively addressing the threat of Ebola. It says this is contrary to comments attributed to Dr. Carlos Chase, the president of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, in an article carried in yesterday's Nation newspaper. The ministry says measures implemented to date include heightened surveillance at ports of entry and sensitization of immigration and customs officers, upgrading of quarantine facilities at the ports of entry, development and dissemination of a procedural manual on Ebola to healthcare providers, including BAMP, intensive hands-on training of healthcare providers in keeping with regional and international best practices, sensitization of key partners and the general public, establishment of an isolation unit on the grounds of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital at Enmore, and verification of the stock levels of personal protective equipment, including body suits. In relation to the concern raised about the size of the isolation center, the ministry has been advised by the Pan American Health Organization that the capacity is adequate. In response to concerns about the location, the Ministry of Health says the Enmore site is part of the extended acute care hospital campus. The ministry is reiterating that the mode of transmission of Ebola is by direct contact with the bodily fluids of ill and deceased persons, and it says the center at Enmore was specifically designed for the management of infectious diseases and to ensure that there would be no threat to the public. More news ahead in just a moment, but first we'd like to hear from you on this question. Should more churches get involved in trying to create job opportunities given the challenging economic environment? Text yes or no to the short code 8111, the results at the end of the news.
Community Files.
Men, do you know enough about various sexually transmitted infections to protect yourself and warn your children? Are you struggling to be the father you would like to be? Do you need help controlling your emotions? Then, come to Man Talk, a workshop being hosted by the HIV Education Committee of the Barbados Government Information Service. It will be held on Saturday, October 4th at Sylvester's, Pelican Village from 2 to 6 p.m. Facilitators will be motivational speaker Tony Olton, HIV educator Shade Leon Folks, Parados representative Leroy Gibbs, and artist Damien Bobo Boyne. To register, call 426-2232 by Wednesday, October 1st, as space is limited.
The breast screening program of the Barbados Cancer Society, in association with CIBC First Caribbean International, presents Walk for the Cure, a 5K walk and run on Sunday, October 5th at the Garson Savannah from 4 to 6 p.m. There will also be entertainment and a kids zone. Registration for adults and children is $20, which includes a shirt. These can be collected from the Barbados Cancer Society between September 29th and October 4th. So come out on Sunday, October 5th and walk for the cure.
Barbados has been told that investing in its citizens at a much earlier age will benefit the country. General Manager and Development Consultant with the Foundation for the Development of Caribbean Children, Susan Branca-Green, believes it will help reverse some of the negative trends seen in today's youth.
In terms of crime and delinquency, we believe that with a very strong start where young children are afforded very positive and positively reinforcing early environments, that will impact on levels of crime and delinquency. And there is international research that supports this. The Perry Preschool Project out of the US, for example.
Ms. Branca-Green's comments came after the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the FDCC and the University of the West Indies Family Development Centre this morning. The MOU jointly addresses many aspects of relevance to family building and early learning. Ms. Branca-Green says there has been a slow response and underinvestment by policymakers in the preschool years.
Where formal schooling, quote unquote, starts in the Caribbean context from 5 years old. Their birth to 3 years old is a sector that, though has grown in significance over the last 10 years, is still one that is in the hands of private providers. It's not recognized as part of the education continuum.
Well, there's a new master diver in the Caribbean, albeit in the junior category. She is 12-year-old Sophie Stewart, who is also a lionfish hunter.
Sophie Stewart is about to make her 50th dive. This one will qualify her for the title of Junior Master Diver. She was vying to break the record of the world's youngest master diver. However, she's facing a setback of contracting an ear infection caused by too many dives in a short space of time. So she's readjusted her goals and set her sights on helping to reduce the lionfish population.
Well, I hope to be a diver for as long as I can and help the environment as much as I can. And I like all animals, as I've said, and I just want to help them and do whatever it takes to make them safe and happy.
Sophie suggesting that hotels add the fish to their menus.
Most people say that, oh, lionfish, they're poisonous, don't touch them, don't eat them. But they're not, they're just venomous. In their top spines and the bottom spines, they've got little pockets of venom, and what they do is when you step on them or touch them, they squirt it out into your hand as defense. But once you get the lionfish and you cut off those spines, they're like any other fish, completely harmless.
Sophie has been diving with instructors Robert Bourne and Robert Ford at the Barbados Blue Water, which is affiliated with the Hilton Barbados. Food and beverage manager at that hotel, Pradi Rajan, says he is excited about the prospects of offering lionfish on the menu.
In fact, right now, I understand exactly what the challenges that Caribbean as a whole faces and how I can be a part of, tackling this issue for myself. So, in my hotel, I'm trying to sort of speak to my team members about building awareness, and this is something which we are trying to do from our hotel. We are also sort of reviewing whether we can have lionfish in the menu. So we are pretty excited about this whole new project that Sophie is trying to do.
Sophie Stewart, the diver and lionfish hunter, says Barbados needs to get on board with including lionfish as part of the tourism product.
Well, come next week, Barbados will have an extra special visitor from the UK. And no, it's not the Queen. It will actually be a service dog, a black Labrador whose name is Dylan. He'll be on the island to take part in activities to mark National Sight Day. President of the National Council for the Disabled, Senator Carrie Ann Eiffel, says Dylan will be the first service dog to come to Barbados, and it will be used to introduce the use of service animals to the public. She says service animals like Dylan help people with impairments or disabilities to be self-reliant.
I've been told personally that I make it look easy to be blind. I am here to tell you all today, it is not easy living with any disability. I make it look easy because it is a part of my life. Blind is not something I'm trying to be. Disabled isn't something that Roseanne is trying to be, or any of us that work with it. It's not something we're trying. It's not something we're working on. It is who we are. It's a part of our lives. What we want is the opportunity to be as much in control of our own lives as we can be. Our family members should not be burdened with some of the challenges that we can take care of ourselves. And service animals give us that opportunity.
National Sight Day coincides with National Animal Week, which begins this Saturday. Those activities include a motorcade in Bridgetown with stops at selected stores. Senator Eiffel says they've sought the necessary permissions from the store owners, and she says the public need not be afraid of the animals.
We know that some Barbadians are still a bit wary of dogs. The Animal Control Unit, the Working Dogs Association, veterinary persons, and persons with special interest in animals have been working very hard to change the attitude of the public. But we know that some people may be uncomfortable. Let me just assure everyone, these animals are trained for gentleness. They are people animals. They have to be trained to be around people because that's how their life is spent. That's what their work is.
Well, the motorcade ends at the Weymouth Sports Club with an all-day rally. The activities actually begin tomorrow with a dog fair on the grounds of Roberts Manufacturing, a church service at the St. James Parish Church on Sunday, guided tours for school children of the Hope Sanctuary in St. John, and an open day on Wednesday at the Animal Control Center at the Lazaretto in Blackrock. 3 elderly people in the New Orleans district have received food hampers to help them make ends meet. Glenn Harvey, president of the New Orleans Community Council, and Wilson King handed over the hampers as part of the community outreach program.
We started to go in the community and see who wanted help, so we singled out these 3 ladies here. I approached Popular Discount and asked for some assistance, and they came forward with the food hampers. We also got some assistance from Calypso Kit, who donated some kits. And we also received paint from Harris Paint to assist with one of the elderly persons in beautifying their homes, you know, as is Seniors Month.
Assistant in the community outreach program for the New Orleans district, Wilson King, says help is needed for the community, proper sanitation and proper road works.
We're asking people, some of those who are in here and some outside, that they will assist us and get a community together. Because it's easier to buy a case of corned beef when you buy it, and to buy a case of corned beef individually. So those things can happen. So maybe one day we'll be selling something inside here to help the community. But we need funds, and we need a solid place to do. And this is a solid place to do. But he's teaching here. We'll have to until he's finished teaching, and then we can do these things. But we need people, the onlookers and people to hear us and come and help us.
Regional news next, but first the reminder that we'd like